Good morning and welcome to Thursday Morning with LindaZ. I'm Debbie and I'm here today to do a project with you all together. I am learning as I go, and I just found this project in a cute box from Moda Fabrics, and here I'll show it to you over here on this camera. It's a cat nap mug rug from Ruby Star. So we have a lot of the Ruby Star fabrics at LindaZ, and so I just thought I would give you an idea of what you could do with some of their really cute fabrics. And they recommend to use the cute little 2.5-inch square packets that they sell with Moda, but you can also cut 2.5-inch squares to make this. So it's a 9. We were talking last week about the 9 patches. So there are 2 9 patches, and then there are a bunch of 2 patches that are in this mug rug. And it turns out like this, so I'll let you see. It's like a kitty cat. So it's a cat with floppy ears, floppy arms, and floppy legs. And then the base of it is the 9 patches on the front and the back. And then we could use some of the other techniques that we've talked about in some of these videos to use video cameras and things like that. But first of all, I wanted to show you right in front of you here is the Janome 9480 machine. It's a sewing only machine. It's a beautiful machine. I've got it set up for piecing right now. So what's wonderful about this machine is that it has this HP stitch plate, sorry. So I've put that HP stitch plate on, and it automatically moves the needle over to a position to use this HP foot for piecing, and it moves it over to the left feed dogs of the base of the machine. And so I get a perfect 1/4-inch seam on my project. So I love that about the Janome machines. They have those HP stitch plates and that stitch quality that's perfect for your piecing needs when you're actually piecing. So yeah, this is a foot that has a feed dog that's on the top, and then it has feed dogs on the bottom. So it's feeding your 2 pieces of your quilt, your piecing, when you're piecing your fabric together, it's feeding them together equally and consistently. Okay, so I've got a couple things here that housekeeping, what you need to make this project is kind of fun. You can have, if you have a light pad like that, I have a light pad on here on the table here. You can trace the pattern that way. I used template plastic here, and I actually, so I don't know if you can see it, but I've got the, here, I probably can see it here. I've traced the ear, the arm, and the leg on template plastic. So that would be a way to, if you were going to make a bunch of these mug rugs for gifts or something, you could actually have a template that's easier to trace around on your fabric than it is to cut out a piece of paper and trace around a piece of paper. So tools that we need for this project, I've got a few sets of, I've got a rotary cutter and a ruler. These are Quilter Select. These are great for cutting. So if you don't have these little mini charm packs, which are 2.5-inch squares of an entire collection of fabric, this is called the Cat Nap Collection. It's a Moda fabric. I haven't actually seen my rep yet for this to order this one, because this is like a preview of this. This is not even out yet. So this Cat Nap will be in the store. I'm gonna get a hold of our rep and make sure that we can order some of these bolts for you guys, and probably end up ordering the mini charms because I'm doing this video, so that you can just go to town on your patches here and make them easily. And then you need some yardage. 3-inch squares of your scraps can be used for the ears. I could see that they are no bigger than 3 inches wide here and 3 inches tall, the ears. So we cut 4 pieces of the triangle. And then I've sewn together 1 ear already and flipped it around, and I can show you that in a moment, but I just wanted to go through the rest of my tools first. I do have a tracing pen. I use the friction pen to trace on the template plastic, and you can use that on your fabric as well if you're going to trace anything. This point turner is really going to be useful. This is an R&K product, that turning tool. It's wonderful to be able to get your points. So here, for example, I got my V point really, really well. And you run it along the seam, and then you're able to get these things turned and looking very, very pretty. So that's a tool. And then a little bigger scissor I was using when I was cutting out my batting. So for the face of the cat, We're cutting a 4" by 6.5" twice, 2 pieces of that. So one for the front and one for the back of our mug rug. We need a piece of batting that is 10 inches by 12 inches. So I've got that already. It's going to be, I'm not sure how big it's actually going to be. It's probably going to be smaller than that because they're having us quilt it first. I was reading the instructions earlier. And so the template plastic, that's just a possible need that you would have if you have any of that anywhere. Otherwise, you can always take this pattern of these 3 pieces here and put it up to a lighted window with sunlight behind, and you can actually see through that too. So you would tape this to the window, and then you could trace around that on your template plastic if you don't have one of these light boxes here, light pads. What else? Let me think. So let's go to town and let's choose. So they want us to make 2 9 patches. So I'm pulling apart my little mini charm pack. And so that it looks like there's 2 of a lot of these fabrics in here, but you can randomly go ahead and choose. Let's see, I'm going to choose, maybe I'll go into different colorways and mix up colorways inside this collection. Not 2 of the same. So my first 9 patch, I'm setting it out here. Maybe another, like that one. Okay, so that's a 9 patch. Let's do a second 9 patch. We've got some pretty greens here. Apples. More of that guy. What have I got here? All kinds of different ones. Try and get this looking good. Or let's put blue in the center. Okay, that looks good. Maybe another one over there, like that. That looks good. Okay, so then we need to have, if I pull this from underneath here, I need to have, 2 sets of 9, and then I need to get 8 sets of 2. So here's a good 2 right there. Different 2s. Just sort of auditioning it as I go here. 1, 2, 3. I've got all of them laid out now. What I need to do is start sewing them together. So why don't I finish the second ear first? So I can go over here, and they say to leave the flat side of both the legs, the arms, and the ears, all of those pieces, leave the flat side unsewn. So I'm just going to go around the V of it and make a V here. So I like to bring my needle down, bump up my fabric to the needle, and then start with my machine at half speed. I'm not a speed demon here today. I don't need to be too fast. And I just sort of go along until I reach what is the 1/4 inch when I lift up and flip to the other side. Okay, I can go 1 more stitch. And then flip down, and then I just go off the edge. And I scissor cut that guy. Okay, then I come over to my workstation and I can trim the point so that when I start to turn the right sides out, I can have a very nice point there. Not just trimming through the stitches, I am only trimming very close up to it and to create a point there. So I take my point turner and I flip this right sides out. And then I just sort of work it so that it becomes a point there. And then I finger press it flat. So that's my second ear. There we go, all flat. Okay, so then let's start working. I've got my 2 ears now here. So let's do the two arms. So I'm going to put them right sides together, and sew along one of the edges. And then that becomes a two patch. Like I said, I like to bring my needle down first, and then I butt that up to the needle, trying to line it up to the edge of the foot. And that's good, so that can start my first stitch, then will be right on the fabric. And I am just stitching right down the edge, and then I'll get my second one ready to go. Did I do which direction did I put my apples in there? Yeah, put them in this way. Whoops, here we go. We go along there. These are going to be the legs. And we just go right along the edge. My next piece. Then I have a few more here. Arms and the legs. And this is what they call chain piecing in the quilting world. Just have a bunch ready to go. So those are all of my let's just cut that guy, and then we can show you that whole chain of the two pieces over here on my workstation, I guess. I can trim those in between each of those seamed pieces. And we are going to open them up, trim around my template for the leg and the arm. So, you really could, if you can trace this onto a piece of cardboard, that would work well too, or cardboard stock, that would work. But these template plastics are made pretty much for this purpose. It's really good to have this, especially if you think you're going to make this again. I did go ahead and I wrote arm on the one and leg on the other. So for example, this was going to be my leg. I can show you that they want us to, well, maybe I should put that over, not on the light box. So you can see I would need to, actually I can just leave it at the edge of one of the pieces here and have the tip of the foot. So I use my friction pen to trace around that. Trace pretty well, yeah. So then I will take my scissor. I could take a rotary cutter, but this is just as easy here. Taking a scissor and trimming right around. So I need to make four of these pieces, one for the front, one for the back of each leg. Okay, so that is my first leg. There we go. There we go. Okay, so I've got two legs. I can grab the arms, which were these two guys. So I need to trace all the way around the template this time. So here I'm on my second arm, just tracing all the way around. Okay, that's good. And then I can take my last four pieces for the backs. I love this fabric, it's so cute. So I'm just tracing around my template here. Oh, of course, the other thing that I could have mentioned is that you could use your scan and cut, of course. I need to bring the scan and cut over here one time and show you guys how easy that is to use too. Okay, so I've got my legs and my arms all cut out, the fronts and the backs. So what I'm going to do is take them over to the machine. I have finger pressed the seams. Sort of have one seam going one way. I don't know if you can see this on here, but one seam going one way and the other seam going the other way. And that way we call them marrying the seams, and they won't be too bulky then in the arm or the leg. These are the arms. So I'm going to take a U around all 4 pieces, and at the 1/4 inch seam allowance, like I've been doing. So I bring my needle down first. I bring my fabric up to the needle, and then I drop the presser foot. And I go all the way around, making sure that my fabrics are lined up pretty well. That would require good cutting skills as well. A stylist might be helpful at this point, going around curves like this. Also, the knee lift lever is good. I don't have that out right now, but the knee lift lever is a very good way to help go around curves like this, because you would slightly lift it up as you're going around the curve, your presser foot. Okay, so I can do all 4 of these like that. So I'll see you back when we're done making those 4 U's. So here I've got my arms and my legs. I'm trimming around the seam, close to the seam, so that when I pull the right sides out, it will be easy to create that circular shape. Okay, and then we flip these arms and legs out, and we can use the point turner. Whoops, I pushed it through the seam. That happens. When that happens, you just go and you reinforce your seam on the machine. Okay, there we go. I think I didn't have my fabrics perfectly lined up when I did my original seam. I think that's what that was. And in sewing, they kind of call that, I went on a vacation. So that happens. Okay, so I've got my 2 arms and my 2 legs right there, and my 2 ears over here. So those are the pieces of the kitty. And now I'm going to do my 2 9 patches. How do I do a 9 patch? That's kind of fun. I'm going to try to do 2 rows at a time, like chain stitching. So I could really go all the way across both the 9 patches, and so this will be my last row on both 9 patches. So I'm going to stitch the seams on these pieces here across these 2 9 patches. Okay, and then I've got these 3 here. 1, 2, and 3. Okay, so scissor cut that. All right, and so those were my 2 9 patches there. Let's take a snippet and we'll snip in between all of those 2 patches. So we can open up, let's flip this one this way. Okay, and then now we can stitch these 2 together like this. So this is what you would call a 4 patch right there. And I will add my 3rd row here onto here. My 2 rows are made then. And then here I can just make my 3rd row. So that's my 3rd row. Bring it to my 9 patch. It's going to become a 9 patch when I sew that 3rd row onto the other 2 rows. I'll get to that first seam, and then I check my next seam. Make sure that this big one's going down, and then this one will go up. You can see that over here. There's my first 9 patch. And here, let's go ahead and sew the first 2 rows on this 9 patch. Okay, so I've got my 2 9 patches finished. Looking good here. 2 9 patches. All right, so let's take all of our pieces together We've got two pieces of, now the actual pattern calls for using, doing hand embroidery to create what you can see over here. You can see that there's a drawing for eyelashes, a nose, and a mouth, and that actually could be scanned into some of the machines that have scanners. You could do hand sewing. You could put a piece of applique for that little piece of nose, but they do call for hand sewing. So on the pattern, and that was the first part of the instructions after you make the 9 patches and the pieces for the legs and the arms and the ears. They called for actually sewing this on and drawing it on first with a marking pen. And so I'm not going to actually do that here. I'm going to just leave this blank with no face at all. Okay, so then they want us to do right sides together across the top of the first 9 patch. Sew that along there to attach. We're attaching the top of the front of the mug rug. Okay, so that is the top of the mug rug. That would have been the face of the cat there. And we'll put the back on the back. Okay, so I've got those 2 pieces then. Attach the ears. See, I've got some pigtails there or tails there, so I'm just going to trim those off. I don't know which one I want to be on the front and which one I want to be on the back. This is fine on the front. Okay, so they want us to attach these using some clips. So let's put 1 clip per ear, and then the arms. And it says to sew those on at 1/8 of an inch from the edge, at closer than 1/4 of an inch to the edge. Cat is taking shape here. Layer the batting, the cat front, arms, legs, ears, all facing in towards the cat body, and the cat, those are right sides together. And the batting, I believe, is down here. Okay, so they just wanted to have enough batting all the way around. Okay, so I'm going to start on the bottom. I'm going to leave the opening at the bottom here. And I can put a clip on one side, 2 clips actually, so I know I've got to stop there. And then I'm starting just right there. Okay, so around the outer edge is 1/4 inch of seam allowance. All right, so let's do that. Start down here. So I'm right at the edge of my block again. And I will go ahead and start sewing 1/4 inch all the way around. And then 1/4 inch across the top. And my last little bit here. I want to leave the opening wide enough. And I forgot to reinforce that first part of my stitch, so let's go ahead and do that now. So that won't tear when I try to turn it. Okay, so I've got that opening. I've stitched all the way around, and it wants me to trim the corners first, so I'm trimming everything with my rotary cutter and my ruler. And I do want to trim the excess batting. And then it says to trim the corners and the seam allowances. So let's just trim with the little scissor here at the corners, because when I do go to turn this around, I'm going to want the corners to be standing out as corners and not round. Okay, so that's good. All right, so then let's turn the cat right side out. We're almost done. Sometimes this turning point part can be the most challenging. So it's looking pretty good so far. This cat is pretty cute. Do need my point turner maybe to go in there and just accentuate the points of the corners. Okay, and it does say hand stitch the opening closed, but I am not going to do that. And if you press it with your iron, of course, then you can have all of these flat. You could either determine that you want to stitch down these pieces so that they're always flat here, or you could have them be able to be floppy and put your mug on a surface that is flatter than if it has the arms, I suppose. But it is kind of a really cute little project, I think. And so I would go ahead and stitch all the way around that, but it's not, I won't show you that today. The project, the kitty cat mug rug, all done. And with an iron, it would just be flatter and easier, but I just thought I'd show you how to do a really cute little project like that using just not that much fabric, and just have a lot of fun with it and enjoy. And I hope you enjoy your Thursday, everyone, and we'll see you next time. Remember, Janome 9480, that was a breeze working with this machine. The seams were perfect. Everything was great. And there are many more features of this machine, but obviously for that quilting and piecing, it's a wonderful machine. Come in and see us anytime. We'd love to show it to you and show you some of our fabrics. We do have 10,000 bolts and counting of fabrics over at LindaZ. And so here we go. Have a nice day, everyone. Bye.